Hello and welcome back to CupofTCG. We are here for the grand final of Dice Saloon's ProQuest Season 5. We have Callum on Viserai versus Theo on Victor. My name is Kyle. Joining me is the man himself, the illustrious Callum. Pleasure to have you on, as always, mate. We're going to be kicking this one off. It's quite a spicy game.
Yeah, this was a fun game. My opponent Theo obviously did very well to get to the finals with me here. He beat a friend of ours in the. Did he beat Ryan in the quarterfinals?
He did, yeah. It was quarters that he beat Ryan, and then had
to get revenge. Had to get revenge for the bro.
Yeah, absolutely. He played Adrian in the semis, the game which predates this. You would have already seen that on the channel. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch that. Absolutely great game from Theo. And yeah, we have Viserai versus Victor. Now, Callum, of course, you're a Viserai player from metas gone past, picking it back up for this ProQuest, and you've dabbled a little bit in Victor as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I played Victor for about a month, maybe less, maybe a little bit more than a month, just before this ProQuest season. Decided not to go with the deck for Dice Saloon's ProQuest. Felt Viserai might be a little bit better positioned into a field that I wasn't. I didn't really know what to expect, to be fair. So on my turn one, I get to go first as I was highest seed in Swiss. I opt to go first. I think against Victor, there's the potential that you may need to set up some slightly more explosive hands rather than just sending every 4 cards you draw. So I get to get a Rimblade Incantation on the board and make a Rune Chant. Good opening for me. Interestingly here, my opponent presents a Cranial Crush. Not a lot of things this hits, but I happen to have drawn the one card in my deck that this does hit.
Yes.
So I'm holding a Gorg Tome in my hand.
That's what you put face down. It's like, not only does this card not block, it will be useless if this hits. So
yeah, so Cranial Crush, not really a crush effect. I'm looking to block with armor in this game, which is pretty much the use case for the armor is to stop those crippling on hits. So that G-Tome, that will end up in my arsenal, I think.
Yeah, makes sense. So eating the 8 here, going down to 32 as we get a lovely punch to the tripod there from Theo. Just truly the guardian mentality.
Making sure the Cranial Crush hits.
Yes, absolutely. So Rimblade Incantation ticking down.
Sorry, something to note here. Theo doesn't arsenal the last card in his hand.
Yes.
So we can pretty much assume that is a block card. One thing to note with Viserai against Victor, I think you want to be doing as much arcane damage as possible because Victor wants his blues.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't have as big a blue density as Guardians of the Past. So making as many Rune Chants and doing as much arcane damage as possible here, thanks to this Mordred Tide, is going to really get the damage in.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing, right? Like playing the Mordred Tide, and then playing the Sonata Arcanics off the back of it, not only pinging for 1, I believe, but also creating 2 Rune Chants. It just starts building up some of that split damage, and well, we saw the Storming Gloomveil get drawn off of notably added to hand because it matters for Sonata due to the Cranial Crush. If it was draw that card, you would not have drawn it. You get to add that card to your hand, and then the Storming Gloomveil trigger is on the stack. So I believe, how many Rune Chants you created this turn? This is 2, 3, 4, so this is all effects.
Yep. I believe it's actually 5 because of the incantation that
absolutely, yeah,
down at the very beginning of the turn. While Theo's thinking on the arcane damage and the Gloomveil here, one thing to note is I'm playing Final Spring Tunic in this matchup over Aether Iron Weave. This game has potential to go longer than a lot of others, so trying to get that last bit of value where I can with a few Tunic resources. It's good. It's better than the Iron Weave, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the Iron Weave gives you, 1 defensive value and 2 resources across the game, whereas Tunic gives you that opportunity of going to 3, maybe even 4. Start seeing some very early Rune Chant blocks here from Theo as well, along with a Clash to be able to draw a card, that being a Test of Strength. Creating a gold, drawing that card off the back of Victor's hero ability. So while no damage coming in there, we do then see I believe that's a red Shrill of Skullform for 7 and 2 split damage. Quite annoying for Victor and Guardians to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, I think as you see here, Theo opted to pitch a red pummel, which I think is probably a sign that he wants the game to go a little bit longer, wants to try and get around to that pitch stack.
Yep.
And my goal in this game is to attempt to make sure that doesn't happen. We sort of assumed that there was a block card based on Theo not arsenaling a card, but yeah, trying to go as tall as possible, as much damage as possible, and because we know we have to arsenal this Gorg Tome, it's just more damage to play out this Shrill, also making 2 rune chants for the following turn thanks to the Mordred Tide.
Absolutely.
There is a second block card, so one of these 2 block cards was in Theo's hand last turn. I believe Theo does win this one.
He does, but he's already drawn this turn.
He has already drawn this turn. So I believe we're dealing 2 rune chants and 4 physical, getting 6 through, 7 in total with the ping from the Sonata this turn.
Yeah, pretty nice split damage turn here. Ripping a lot of cards out of Theo's hand as well. And notably, with only 1 card in hand, it's all well and good him having the 2 gold, the vigor, and the might. But it is going to cost him, the card in his hand, to be able to swing that Anothos with the pump. So, actually cracking a gold, as a matter of fact. Knowing what the card on top of the deck is, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I think slight fumble from Theo here, unfortunately. I don't know if...
Did he forget what the card on top of the deck was? Or?
I think possibly, because it's a Clash of Vigor, which doesn't pump Anothos. Also not making a Seismic Surge here, for whatever reason. Possibly just missing it. I think quite often Viserai Viserai not being a very popular deck at the moment takes some people off guard a little bit. I think it's not been played very much for quite some time now, so not everyone super used to the play patterns that Viserai's got.
Absolutely. G-Tome presented towards your opponent as well, just to be like, as you were mentioning, just actually people might not know what this card does because it's been a minute since Viserai's been towards those top tables. So Gorganian Tone, of course, reads 0 cost, draw X cards where X is 1 plus the number of Gorganian Tones in all graveyards. Go again. So fills a lot of conditions here for Viserai, of course, needing a non-attack action to be played before your first Runeblade cards to be able to generate that Rune Chant, and exactly that is what we're seeing. Can't see the card that's pitched here due to the glare. Apologies, my bad. But it definitely it's pretty strong here, right?
Yeah, we'd know it was a non-attack action if I had made 3 Rune Chants off the back of the pitch. So this is for 3 arcane and 6 physical damage here, notably without an action point. However, if you've read Spellbound Creepers before,
you know what's happening.
You know what's happening here. Quite early use of Spellbound Creepers. I think maybe my hand didn't have a Warrior in Skies. The G-Tome, however, allowing me to get this Revel in. And we come in for 6 arcane and 3 on the physical on the sword.
Yeah, and this is one of the different things about your list than what we were seeing from some of the other Viserais that were trying things out, right? Like you're running Reaping Blade instead of Nebula Blade. Primarily because it still works well with the cost over the deck, being a 1 cost 3, which just allows you to push some more damage on the previous cards, paying into those a little bit more than swinging the Nebula Blade at the end of the chain.
So notably here, I have 2 resources floating. Usually when you see that, it's a sign that we missed a grasp activation. Yeah, pummel on the Reaping Blade. Usually it's a sign that we missed a grasp activation. However, starting the turn with 3 Rune Chants meant that that wasn't possible. So yeah, technically Reaping Blade marginally better this turn.
Absolutely. Taking a fair amount of damage that turn as well, right? So pitched for, I believe, all of the damage that would have been dealt, and then
so we got we got 6 rune chance through off the Revel, but
Just
the
time
sword
warped him.
was blocked. My incantation is coming to a close here. It's got its value. Very nice turn 0 play. I am equal on life, but I do have the tempo. Concern here now is that Theo takes the line to say no more Spellbound Creepers for you. However, we open with a Mordred Tide, so I'm going to try and make that as difficult for him as possible. Sonata here paying into the effect, so revealing 4 cards.
Ooh. Is going to hit.
It's going to hit. We're only going to draw 1. We'll add 1 to our hand. And I just can't turn down Drawn from the Dark Dimension.
Nope, Drawn from the Dimension in an incredibly strong card.
Especially in the scenario this turn where I have 3 rune chance.
Yes,
so that card
absolutely.
is not costing me any resources.
It costs nothing. Second time this game that we've seen you play a Sonata Arcanix off the back of a Mordred Tide. So not only is the arcane damage pinging in, but also more value being created off the back of that effectively 0 cost card in Sonata by creating 2 rune charts.
Yeah. So I think some Viseralists opting to not play it, being slightly more of a variance-based sort of high-rolly card. My thesis for this event was just, if I hit, I hit, and my percentage win chance goes through the roof. With cards like Sonata, Tome of the Arc Knight, Viserai as a hero in general is quite a variance-based aggro deck.
Yep.
And sometimes you just got to take the lines that are a little riskier.
Theo really wanting to get rid of these Spellbound Creepers this turn. Pitching 2 cards so far, both being blue, negating 4 arcane that's come at him so far. Of course, you're drawing a card off of Drawn Dark Dimension here. Trounce comes in, floating that resource to be able to put another counter on to Drawn to be able to play a Sonata Galixia, creating another 2 rune charts.
Yep. So what we're doing here, it's a very, very minor optimization thing, I suppose. But my theory here is I'm going to creepers in this Sonata Galixia anyway. I might as well do it in response to the Trounce because I get a miss on a clash out of my deck before the Trounce resolves.
Okay.
So this Sonata Galixia is making 2 rune chance and going and finding me another Runeblood incantation. I opt to pitch into it, making it making X2. So this Sonata Galixia played at instant speed refunds my action point as it gains go again. I'm just explaining to Theo here why and what the card is doing at this point, and sort of mentioned to him that my intention to play the card is to get a Clash Miss out of my deck. Pre-top 8, the deck check that happened.
I was about to say, wait a minute, what's this?
The judge determined that one of my Runeblood incantations was a little bit pringled. That's what I get for having a few foils in the deck, I suppose. But it's replaced by a proxied crack ball.
Yeah, it's one of the shames of having like the really cool extended art cards only being rainbow foil, right?
Yeah, the armory promos, they like a pringle. So my play to try and get a Clash Miss out my deck didn't pay off anyway. But
2 Clash Misses straight off the top. Notably though, you got to become on top of the deck though, so it's information known at least for a couple of seconds before this second Drawn comes in, paying absolutely nothing, drawing that Become the Art Knight.
Again, on these Mordred Tide turns, I am more than happy to end with a Runeblade card rather than the sword, because I get to start my following turn with more rune chance.
Yep.
And seeing the Become on top of the deck means that I'm pretty happy to draw that. It's a nice little hand fixer for the following turn, maybe.
No, absolutely. So Theo has blocked with absolutely everything in his hand here to be able to ensure that your Spellbound Creepers do blow up. But with the Vigor created from the Trounce, he is going to be able to create a Seismic Surge. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So essentially carries over one resource onto his next turn. But with 3 Rune Chants here ready and waiting to be chucked at his face and become the Arc Knight in the arsenal, this is looking to be another pretty strong turn, even though your the one main combat trick from Viserai is now offline.
Yep. At this point in the game, I am starting to very much keep in mind how many Mordred Tides and how many Revels I've played, because they're going to be my main ways to push damage this game. There is at a quite healthy 24. With all of his equipment up. The game's going somewhat how I'd like it. Theo's taking a much more defensive approach, not having to commit many cards to defense so far at this point in the game. But I'm a bit concerned at the life totals.
Absolutely. Well, Deputy Duet coming on in for 4 go again. It's 4 Rune Chants. Deputy Duet for 6 go again. No, sorry.
Physical.
4 physical go again, creating 3 Rune Chants. Just
so another decision point here is playing the Become, discarding a non-attack action, meaning I get to go and look for any attack action in the deck. So Shriller Skullform for 7 was an option here.
Yeah.
I opted for the attack which made more arcane damage, because again, like I said, I just want to get those blues out of Victor's hand if I can. I do get an armor block here. The armor block would have been potentially more of an option if I had presented more damage, but cleanly blocked with a 2 block in the armor piece there.
Yeah, quite importantly here though is that this is now the 2nd turn in a row that you presented more than one chain link with a high amount of split damage, and also you're getting an arsenal. So tempo quite heavily in your favour here, but for the first time in a couple of turns, Theo does have a couple of cards in his hand to be able to swing back here. Let's see what that response is.
I'm interested to see him block with the Zealous Belting, because I'm sure he would have liked to have played the Zealous on the offensive.
Yep.
But appreciate that this is a pretty clean, efficient 2-card play with that Seismic Surge created from the Vigor last.
Chokeslam for 8. One of these cheeky pumps that you see some of the Viserais playing. I mean, in the not the same list, but Turtle Burst, we've been seeing a Slogism come out every now and then. You might just be respecting that, all things considered, but of course, blocking for 5 here.
Yep, so Shrill and Deathly Duet and Swarming Bluebell all gain power.
Indeed. Tome of the Arc Knight. Now this is an important one. Need to be drawing 2 cards here. Oh my god. Drawing the 2, one of them being a Morph as well. Opens up the turn dramatically.
So we get the go again source off the Tome of the Arc Knight. Now I'm not going to claim that Tome is optimal. Bit clunky sometimes. However, as you see with this hand, my hand was originally a blue, the Tome, and a Shrill. So in the scenario that the Tome doesn't hit, I still get to present 7 physical damage and make a Rune Chant for the following turn. However, as the Tome hits, my turn becomes significantly more explosive with the Revenant Arsenal and the Rune Flash drawn.
Wow. Floating the Tunic as well, so you've still got that card in hand to be able to arsenal. So you're coming in for 6 and 3, threatening 9 across 2 separate damage sources. 6 already being blocked by Theo here as well on the Shrill. Yeah. And
so I have
the Rune Flash.
So I have a judge question here. So I asked the judge, as my opponent hadn't committed to any blocks yet, could I take a playback? Judge approves it. Theo approves it, and we still going to float the Tunic as we're going to swing the sword one way or the other. But this turns the turn from 9 damage, arsenaling a card, into 14 damage without Arsenal. So.
Wow. I mean, yeah, so 3 Arcane being going through there, and then the 4 from the Rune Flash, threatening 3 and 1 off the back of this as well, when the sword comes in.
Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned in the deck video we did against KO, where we did the game review against KO, not a game in the not a deck in the game that can really say no blocks to a Morph Skies. Your hands become an absurd amount of damage if they do, especially a red Morph Skies. So we see Theo give the armor on the Morph Skies breakpoint, which is fair enough. However, we just need to push damage over the top of the blocks.
You're having to think about what is possible here right now. I mean, does have 4 block available on the armor, but this is split damage. At least one of this is going through no matter what. Could try and block out the Reaping Blade as well, which is going to be coming in, but...
So Theo here opting for Balance of Justice this matchup. I'd be interested to know if he has Crown of Providence in the list. I think Balance is probably the correct hedge in case of a cash-in.
Yeah, absolutely.
In case of a Crown of Dominion, Viserai. Unfortunately, not getting any value out of it this game.
I believe the HP numbers are incorrect. I believe he should be on 8 at this point, taking the 4 damage when he was on 12.
He blocked 2 with the
he blocked 2 with the Balance of Justice, absolutely. No, never mind. I was not wrong on the day. Fantastic scenes. Wolverine Skies. Yeah, let's go. Wolverine Skies coming in with another Deathly Duet, and I believe that's pitching a Dread Triptych. So this is pumped up to 6. So 6 with Go Again, threatening an Arcane. Your opponent's on 10. Limited amount of armor available, and oh my good god, is he just eating this?
I think he's taking the Arcane. So over the course of this game, I've managed to push enough turns over the top.
Oh, you won the trounce.
I think Theo cracks a gold.
Okay, there we go.
He wins it with a Zealous, so he got there. Unfortunately, not revealing our one of 9th blade at any point in these matches.
Well, instead of the 3 gold, now down to the 2 gold, but having to crack one using Vitz's ability. Losing that first clash on the trounce. Does create the Vigour and the Might. Callum, you being on 24, Theo on 9. Definitely
so
has
here
been fully blocked out though.
Yep, so here I'm checking my graveyard, see how many Rebels and Mordred Tides I have left. I believe the card in my hand is a Revel. Seeing Theo win the trounce means that there's a good chance that he could fully block out that Revel, and I want to save that Revel for a turn which I can really get it over the top. So I opt not to play it there. I do give Theo a little bit of space, which is somewhat scary.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, a great return from him here, right? This is a 1-card Golden Sun overpower for up to 11 due to the Might. So, yeah, very strong response from him.
A good way to start closing the gap on the life totals. I think Theo himself would tell you he would like some form of disruptive effect here.
A spinal here or something instead.
Yeah, it's I'm definitely in a position where I'm very happy to say no blocks. However, I don't want to waste any cards in my hand, so anything superfluous we will block with.
It's looking like Shrill is going to be that target. What kind of Shrills are you running in the deck? Is it just the reds, or are you on the blues also?
So we've got 6 Shrills, we've got 3 reds and 3 blues.
There you go, that being one of the blues you block with there.
Yeah, so of the blues that I have the choice to block with here, Shrill or Vexing Malice. Vexing Malice is better in the pitch stack against decks on AB1 because there is a inevitable late game where if your opponent is at 1, they cannot do anything about a source of 2 arcane.
No, absolutely. And, well, positioning for that pitch stack as we get rid of the Vexing Malice, playing a Read the Runes to be able to increase those rune chants up just a little bit further, and passing the turn, holding 1 card in your hand. Of course, not afforded the opportunity to be able to block 6 in that previous turn because of the overpower on Golden Sun, but now we see a little bit of tempo here from Theo. You're on 16, you see a Zealous Belting coming on in, and this now is a 5 go again. Really looking to close the gap towards the end of this game.
Yeah, so I have to forfeit a little bit of tempo on that last turn. Hand doesn't really function. Not many hands with Read the Runes do.
Oh, wow. Another one. This is coming in for 10 overpower.
Yeah. Again, I really do think a couple of really nice damage turns back to back here from Theo, but I think he himself would really have liked some disruption, maybe a pummel or command and conquer, something like that on one of these turns.
Yeah, something to rip cards out of your hand forcibly or from your arsenal.
Yeah, for sure. It does really start to close the gap though. And as we know, a deck like Viserai definitely has the potential to have one or two clunkers here and there. The deck had been relatively kind to me throughout this event, so wouldn't have been surprised to have got a bit of a brick in the finals, but fortunately for me, I think my hand is perfectly functional.
So with that in mind, 4-card hand, the card in your arsenal, 5 rune chance, and you're not going to be gaining 1 from the incantation here. Is this eating 10 going to 1? It is. Playing on 1 HP.
Had a little think, made sure there was no reckless swing, steel blade shunt type effects in Guardian that catch me out.
That had released halfway through this game.
Yeah. So a bit of hand fixing here, become helping me find an attack action to send Theo's way. A lot of options at this point being that I have 5 rune chance, so all of my expensive attacks that are discounted are very affordable at this point.
Absolutely. Notably, the only blocking card which has a ping effect from heavy hitters being the Brute Warrior run into trouble, so not having to worry about that in Victor. I mean, if you did have to worry about it, then that would be an entire another judge call. Evidently not going to be the case, though. Become the Art Knight.
Lost the ProQuest final, so that card I would say I would shake my opponent's hand and say, fair enough, you got me.
Become the Art Knight. So what do you haven't discarded here yet, have you? So
I've discarded a Looming Doom. I forgot to resolve the incantation trigger at the beginning of the turn, which the judge reminded me of.
Gotcha.
So that is on top of the Looming Doom, which I discarded from the Become the Art Knight. So I'm going to get an attack here. Few choices. I end up opting for Drawn to the Dimension. My favourite. Love this card. I have a Go Against Horse in my hand, notably because there's no creepers anymore.
No cheating with creepers. It's going to be nice and fair, flesh and blood.
And the potential to really close a game out, drawing some turn extenders with Drawn to the Dimension is always there.
6 and 3, drawing a card, not pitching a card. Go again.
So as we remember the previous turn, I opted not to play the Revel in my arsenal because I believed my opponent very well had the ability to block that out, and I want to save my power cards for the turns that I can really push over with. Given the potential that Theo doesn't have a block card here, he is 4 cards and 1 armor piece to fully block out this turn. Getting 2 of them already bodes pretty well for this turn to be able to close the game out.
Absolutely, blocking with the Spinal. There it is, just 1 turn too late, it would seem. And now coming on in for 1 and 3, 4 even, sorry, with the created rune chance. So 4, go again, and then from the arsenal, as we know.
My opponent is face up here. Minor optimization thing here, having a spare blue to make an extra rune count. Taking me all the way up to 7. And if my math is correct, 7 and 3 on the sword.
7 and
That's the
3
game.
on the sword. I think that's 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, no, that's lethal. That's it. That's the game. Callum, congratulations, of course, securing the ProQuest victory against Theo, and not only that, securing the grand finals against him, and winning your PTI for the Amsterdam Pro Tour, which we are going to be heading over to, along with the gold foil, that being Mask of the Pouncing Lynx that you would have seen if you watched our deck take video that we released last week, or about a week ago at this point. I'm not sure when this video is going out, but yeah, no, piloted very, very well, and having the mental fortitude to know that, okay, I can go to one in this situation. The hand is good enough.
Yeah, I
really
mean, I say, well played to my opponent. Got me on the ropes there at the end. But again, Viserai, just a deck that the longer the deck decides to be kind to you, the easier it is to win game.
Yeah, true. Draw cards, hit face, win game. Simple as that. Everyone play Viserai. That's all you need to do. Nice. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys. That is it for our coverage here at the Dice Saloon ProQuest. As you can see on your screen, Callum coming out victorious against Victor. A hell of a top 8 run and a hell of a day from yourself, but also a really nice showing of decks inside of this top 8. A nice spread of heroes, which is good to see. Right, that's it, guys. We'll be following up with some Dice and Destiny ProQuest content from the top 8. We had a stream going on there as well, and unfortunately the finals weren't streamed, but we got that recorded and we're going to be releasing that very, very soon as well. So thank you very much for watching. We'll be catching you really soon.